Okay, hi, I'm Janet Wong, and this is my father.
Hi there, Janet.
This is my father, Roger Wong. And my dad told me the story about how, were you in high school at that time?
Yes, I was.
High school, helping your friend Shin.
Hmm.
Most of my dad's high school friends actually were Nisei, right? Or Sansei?
Nisei and Sansei.
Nisei and Sansei, Japanese Americans, even though he's Chinese. So I grew up learning about different Japanese holidays, which I loved. I loved going to Little Tokyo for Obon. And then you told me this story about how for the New Year, which the Japanese celebrate on January 1st, not on the day of the Lunar New Year. There's mochi making and then yokan making, right? And you were making yokan, which is made out of azuki red bean paste and sugar, and kanten, which is a gelatin made from seaweed, agar agar. So you were helping making the mochi with the pounding,
Yes.
and then you moved on to making the yokan. And tell us what happened.
The Japanese here in the United States, one of the biggest holiday to them is the New Year, and they do have their own traditions and making different, types of food. Not only for offering, but also for their own consumption. And they would invite friends, relatives to visit them and serve them this special food that they make. And my daughter mentioned I told her about one experience where I went and helped my high school friend's father to make these tasty treats for the New Year's. One of the things that they made is the rice cake. The sweet rice cake is called mochi, and basically it's a sticky sweet rice, and you pound that, and then what they do is the artist would come and they take hold of the dough, and then they form that into different sizes of perhaps like a hamburger bun, and they would have different sizes, and they would stack some of the small one on top of the big one and make offerings. And the other ones that they make is for their own consumption is the sweet yokan, and which is basically made of beans, sugar, and a sweet rice as well. But the process making the yukon is very, very time consuming. What they do is that they put all the ingredients in a great big pot, and then they would just fire up the stove, and then they would cook the ingredient slowly, very slowly. And because it takes so long to cook and mix all the ingredients, a person have to constantly stir the content, so make sure it's not sticky or burned. And I was one time, that particular time, was given the assignment by my friend's father, says, you shall be responsible to take care and make sure that all the ingredient in this pot, that we're making the yogurt, do not burn, nor would they stick to the pot. So what you need to do is constantly stir the pot and mix it well. In the meantime, when you think all the beans and rice and everything is fully cooked, then we would add other ingredients. One of the main ingredients is sugar, white sugar. We would put a couple pounds of white sugar in there. So I follow
this because this is a big pot, because Shin's family had a bakery, actually a very famous bakery, and that's why that was their business. And so imagine a big pot. That's why you put 2 pounds of sugar.
The pot is as big as a 55-gallon drum, and that's how big it is. But anyway, so I keep stirring it, and the time is ready for me to put the sugar into the mixture, and I followed the instruction. If I remember correctly, it's just like put 3 pounds of white sugar, and I went and got the sugar. However, I was about half pound of short the short of the white sugar. So I pour the white sugar whatever I got into the pot and mix it, and then I'm looking to get another half a pound of white sugar to put in there to make it, a 3 pound as called for in the recipe. Well, I went and searched for the other sugar. I found it was next to a couple bags of which I thought was sweet sugar, and I poured it into a container and then waited exactly half pound. I poured it in to the rest, mix the ingredient, and I keep stirring it, and then the fire was going good, and all of a sudden, the content in that drum, in that great big pot, start to pop, and a couple of those popped and landed on my hand, and it got kind of burned. So I put my hand and up toward my lips, and I kind of suck it to ease the pain. And lo and behold,
Oh no.
it tastes kind of salty. I says, how could that be? It should not be salty like that. Anyway, I didn't say anything to anyone, but I went back to the bag that which I thought was sugar that I got the half pound from, and I looked. It did not say sugar; it says salt. I said, "Holy mackerel!" I says, "I sure messed this thing up so badly. Now I don't know what the heck they're going to do with this thing. It just don't taste right, and all the ingredients, the time we spent, but more importantly, they depend on the end product, to meet their commitment, to sell to the people, because that's a pre-order stuff. Anyway, I didn't say anything. I keep staring it. And I guess my conscience got the best of me. I says, I cannot do this. I got to tell somebody about this. So I went and told my friend, I said, Shin, guess what? I think I screwed up. It called for 3 pounds sugar, and it didn't have enough sugar to make 3 pounds, about half pound short. And I went and got the other half pound from a bag, which I thought was sugar, but instead it's salt. And I says, this thing here just don't taste right, and I'm so sorry. He says, well, I better go tell my father. So he went and told the father. Oh my God. I was so afraid. I was so scared. And I know I goofed. So the father walked toward me. He and my friend Shin, they approached me. They says, well, what did you do? And I explained to them what I did. And he says, not a problem. Don't worry about it. We start another batch. And I said to myself, I says, I wonder, did he understood what I just did? And he wasn't mad. He says, let's just start another batch. So rather than question that, I'd be more than happy to do that. So we work lots and lots of hours to make up for the lost batch that I grew. And we made that second batch in time to meet the sales commitment that people had ordered ahead of time. But in the meantime, I asked my friend Shin, I says, what happened? How come your father wasn't mad or anything like that? He says, oh, my father think whatever is done is done. It's an honest mistake. You didn't do it on purpose. For that reason, he says, don't worry about it. He says, they will get rid of that batch. To make a long story short, they did manage to get rid of the batch that I screwed up. It took them about a year for them to slowly mix the one that I have goof, taste kind of salty. Would every time they make a new batch, they put some in there. It took them about a year to get rid of it. But the bottom line is that they did manage to get rid of my mistake. But more importantly, I walk away with a lesson that I learned, and I let that lesson taught me, and also I pass on the lesson to my kids as well. And that is, honest mistake does happen. It's not by intention. And for that reason, one should have enough courage, enough understanding to forgive. And I was so proud that I was one of the person actually learned this lesson the hard way. And that lesson made me a better person throughout my whole life. I'm in my late 80s now.
Mid 80s.
Mid 80s or late 80s. But you know what? I'm not afraid to admit that, hey, I make mistakes. I own my mistake. And many times the honest mistake that I made might have caused inconvenience and problem for others. But I'm happy to say, in most cases, these people that unintentionally that I caused harm or hurt their feelings or whatever, learn to forgive me because they know it was unintentional. And that's how I try to conduct my life to this day.
This holiday season, you're going to get together with friends and family, and you're going to hear lots of great stories like we just heard. Take some time afterwards to write those stories down. Write a poem about something that you remembered hearing at dinner or after dinner or in the middle of the day. Honor our heritage, honor our stories.
Thank you for listening to me. And I do wish you and yours happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Making Yokan by Janet Wong, based on a story told by Roger Wong. Grandpa loves to tell the story about how he helped make yokan one day for Shin's family's bakery, and instead of a bag of sugar, he dumped in a bag of salt. He caught the mistake too late, he thought, ruined the whole batch. But Shin's father wasn't mad. They used the bad batch little by little, week by week, all year long, until it was finally gone. The bottom line? Eventually, they got rid of Grandpa's mistake with understanding soft as yokan, with forgiveness that we remember still on the first day of each new year.